Yeah. True story, you dealing with the best in chess. Fish gang, where you at? Time to represent. Coach, show them how we run it. It's time to do it big. Let the world stream live. You can find him on Twitch. Right from the opening until he holla checkmate. Coach keep it entertaining, yeah, all day. Some people donate, some try to hate. Tell them don't hide. Check them online, chess.com. Yeah, that's where it goes down. He don't see no competition every time he look around. People yelling true story, sounding like Coach. If you ready, come rock with him. You know how it goes. Hey, yeah.
Welcome back. It's Coach with game review number 112. This is game review number 112. True story. Let's go. We in here. We're taking another look at Atomic Judd. Atomic Judd for our under 1300 club is playing with the white pieces. And let's take a look at what he's going to do and see if we can't apply some of our principles to his game. And it looks like we're getting an English. Now, one thing about Coach, he does not like to teach openings. You know, Coach is a principled player. I'd rather teach you principles that you can apply to any opening versus trying to broad stroke openings on you and make you play openings that might not necessarily fit your style of play. So, you know, C4 is not, you know, an opening that Coach, you know, would be jumping out there and playing because it doesn't immediately jump on the four center squares. It does attack the center from the flank, which is similar to the Sicilian. So I guess this would be arguably a Sicilian with the white pieces. Someone might, you know, argue. In fact, chess.com is calling it the English Open reversed Sicilian variation. So there you go. But anyway, we continue. White has chosen to attack the center from the flank and very Sicilian-like. So maybe I should be thinking about playing this opening. And black is doing what could be a Smith-Morra reverse. This is just some weird chess being played. But one thing I can say is the pawn chain, pawn islands. Maybe I should make some kind of note. This really isn't a principle, but, you know, I guess we could use a chess definition. And that is when you have pawns separated from each other, they're called pawn islands. And in this case, the pawns, the A pawn, the C pawn, and then the E pawn complex are all three separate pawn islands. So let's see if I can make a note here so that you can see a pawn island, a loose definition of a pawn island. So we've got the A pawn, the C pawn, and then we've got these guys over here. So that would be three pawn islands, and I am not a fan. White has two pawn islands, and typically when you have a lot of pawn islands, the pawns cannot protect each other from attack. You know, they can't work together. They're just out there as loose targets. So white has chosen to get on this diagonal right away, and I'm a fan of that. This is called fianchettoing the bishop, fianchetto, and I'm not going to document every little definition here in this particular video, but this is called the fianchetto. Black has chosen to do the same thing, even though he doesn't have the pawn structure that is appropriate for a fianchetto. So we have opposing bishops and natural development. Now, this is a strange move. I think here, white was supposed to play knight f3, but he chose to play e3, which I am not a fan of because, once again, it has permanently crippled the dark square bishop. And I'm starting to believe that Mr. Atomic Judd doesn't like his bishops because every game, some kind of way, he seems to handicap his bishops. But you should be paying attention to that. When you push your pawns, do it with the mindset that you don't want to hinder or handicap your other pieces. Your pieces and your pawns should work together, not against each other. Fortunately for white, you know, black jumps off the cliff right away and leaves a piece hanging. So that goes to one of our principles that we had spoken about in some of the other videos, and that is pay attention to your opponent's moves. pay attention to your opponent's moves is a thing. And in this case, black did not pay attention. In fact, I have no idea what black was trying to do. You know, even if this pawn had not been pushed, I don't understand why the knight needs to go right there. So kudos to Atomic Judd for snapping that piece off right away. And this move is also activating a piece and one step closer to getting the king safe. So, you know, entertaining another principle that we've talked about in the past, and that is the ABCs of chess. So black plays g6. It looks like he's going to try to fianchetto his bishop on the other side of the board, which is fine. White finally plays knight f3. I'm a fan of that, and simultaneously attacking the e5 pawn. Let's go. h5. Harry is on the way. I don't know what the point of that beyond attacking the queen is supposed to be. The queen relocates to a very nice square, putting pressure here, eyeing down this square. The knight still wants to get here. The bishop might be interested in a check in some future variation. I like the location of this queen. The pawn continues to run. Not a fan. First of all, you know, one of our principles is to get your king safe before you start attacking. And I'm just going to note that now. Get your king safe before you start attacking. And the idea is, you know, if you start attacking before you get your king safe, you leave yourself exposed to counterattacks. And in this case, neither side is castled, but black is at least 2 moves, possibly 3 moves from getting his king safe. And white is already jumping on him with a mate threat. So, and he's got a triple attack on the c6 square as well. So, you know, black's in trouble. And unfortunately, his defense of the c6 and f7 square could have been maybe here, but he chose to put his queen on d7, which is a contact square for the knight. And let's see if white took that piece. He did, yes. And this game should be over shortly. The king can no longer castle. He's in check. 3 ways to get out of check. I guess I will document that. There are 3 ways to get out of check. Run, block, and capture. Those are the 3 ways to get out of check. Run, block, and capture. And in this case, he cannot capture the queen. He can run and he can block. So he's got 2 of the 3 available to him. He chose to run. Now here, when he ran, he left exposed, I guess a skewer, the bishop here. But white chose to take this bishop a different direction by checking him with the knight. The knight, oh man, sorry about that. Let me press the wrong button so we get to do a flash preview of the game. Okay, here we go. So the knight checks, pawn captures, bishop takes bishop. Now the rook is gone. The king is still stuck in the middle of the board. He cannot cross this line. These lines are all dangerous to the king. So the king really only has 2 squares. This is what we call putting the king in the box. I'm a fan of putting the king in the box. The knight is developed, allowing the king to retreat. So now he has 3 squares that he can use. Bishop takes rook, and then the other bishop comes out. Queen captures pawn. This is called a peace relationship. The knight and the bishop are in a peace relationship. Not really relevant in this particular game, but you know, something that we'll be talking about in future videos. It's a little bit of an advanced concept. And then black chose to attack the queen for some strange reason, despite, oh, why didn't we just take this bishop? Okay, so that goes back to, you know, pay attention to every move your opponent makes. Pay attention to every move your opponent makes. That is a thing. So in this case, the queen got attacked and the bishop was on pre, which would have basically cost black everything, but white chose to move the queen. And it just happens that black is giving away material anyway. So this game went on a little bit longer than it should have, but I don't know how much time we should spend looking at a dominating position like so. So the high level concepts have been talked about, and let's just flash back through it again. Pay attention to every move your opponent makes. We've got the pawn island here, so that might be a new concept for some people. Fianchettoing, that might be a new concept for some people. This is called a fianchetto, when you put your bishop in the pocket like that. One of the safest positions in chess, by the way. Another thing that we should summarize and recap is try to put your pawns in a structure or a formation that is complementary to your piece movement and not prohibiting your piece movement. And then obviously, you know, look at every move that your opponent makes. So we're going to go ahead and wrap with that. And
Yeah.
thank you so much.
True story, you dealing with the best in chess. Fish gang, where you at? Time to represent. Coach, show them how we run it. It's time to do it big. Let the world stream live. You can find him on Twitch. Right from the opening until he holla checkmate. Coach keeping entertaining, yeah, all day. Some people donate, some try to hate. Tell them don't hide. Check them online, chess.com. Yeah, that's where it goes down. He don't see no competition every time he look around. People yelling true story, sounding like Coach. If you ready, come rock with them. You know how it goes. Hey, yeah.
We'll see you on the other side. Peace.